Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Josh and this is not my favorite 79 Corvette. I unfortunately decided to go ahead and do the video inside the comfort of my home in my own office simply because the heat outside is ridiculous. With that being said, I do want to speak about a couple of things regarding the Tesla and specifically the things that I love about the car. There will be a separate video on the things that I absolutely hate about the car, and there is a lot of things that I hate about the car, but I wanted to start off on a positive note. This is part of a saga of videos that I'm doing, as I said prior on my last video, and I'll eventually get back to working on the Corvette as normal within keeping of these new cars that we have. With that being said, if you guys are interested in watching this video, feel free to stay tuned. If not, feel free to watch my other videos, and I'll see you guys on the next one. So, as I mentioned, this is a video of things that I absolutely love about my Tesla. This is a Model Y, a 2022 Model Y Performance. So it's got all the fast dual motors and all that stuff. And I simply wanted to talk about and give a different perspective about what I think I love about the car. And hopefully this will make you either grow interest in this car or, you know what, this is not for me. Please do keep in mind that this is in no way in any order. And so I'm just going to kind of rant about the things that I love as a whole. So not in order, it's not a top 5 or anything. There will be a bonus at the end. And yeah, hopefully you guys like the video. So the first thing that I absolutely love about this car is the looks. On my last video, I spoke about how the look was a bit divisive. It still is. I find the car to be a very interesting mix of like animals. As I said, a whale or a dolphin. It's just an odd shape. However, one thing that stands out to me and one thing that I love about this car is the rear of it. I just love the way it looks. It just looks so sharp and so sophisticated and massive. It looks a lot bigger than what it is, which I enjoy looking at. And with that being said, on the looks portion, I absolutely love the interior. I think there are a couple of things about the interior. One, it's very simple. It's very minimalistic. There's not a lot of things that can break aside from the 15-inch screen. But there's just not a lot of things that can break. There's not a lot of things that you need to clean. There's not a lot of things that can gather dust or little particles of food or spills or any of that. It's just very straightforward and very easy to maintain. I do keep a couple of products in the front to clean, but I've noticed that the car keeps itself clean. I also enjoy the fact that the interior is almost timeless. I don't see how this interior is gonna age bad compared to other cars or any other vehicles out there. Given the perfect example, the Mercedes that I had was a beautiful car when it came out, but within the 3 years or 4 years that passed by, the car started to age. The wood just didn't look right. The car itself had too many old school buttons, too many outdated things. The screen was outdated, the gauges were outdated. Beautiful car nonetheless, but it aged and you can tell it was aging. With this car, I feel like it's so ahead of everything else that it'll take a long time for it to start looking like it's ugly. I feel like there's just not a lot going on inside the cabin, so there's not a lot that's going to age, if that makes sense. It just makes you feel good. It's a welcoming interior. It's not too cold, but it's also nothing that's going to overwhelm you with buttons and gadgets and things. So I enjoy that. I think it's a really nice interior and it's very comforting for me, I guess. The next point that I want to touch about the things that I love about this car has to be the software. How intuitive and how easy to manage everything it is. Also how easy it is for someone like me to get accustomed to the interior. There's obviously little things that I will talk about on my next video about the things that I hate about the center console or the center screen, but we're not there yet. So I love the software. I love how intuitive it is and how easy it is for you to learn how to use it. It almost puts you on the position where you kind of just have to learn because your car depends on you to make those decisions on the screen. and your car depends on you to keep your knowledge to a certain level when you're driving this car. So it's very intuitive, it's very easy, it's very fun to mess with, which keeps in with the simplicity of the car. It's meant to be driven and used as such. And I have learned to enjoy and obviously use the car as it's meant to be used. Love the software optimization, love the implementation of it. I think having the Sentry mode cameras, having the Autopilot or the supervised Autopilot, not full self-driving because I don't have that yet. But having all those things right at your fingertips make you feel very in control of the car, and it makes you feel like you're able to make the decisions on anything related to the software or the car itself. It gives you tons of options on that aspect. Anything going from the steering wheel feeling, whether you want it on a relaxed or a more sporty mode. You can also do your side mirrors, your steering wheel, everything through the computer, which creates a lot of dependency, which now that I mention it, now that I'm hearing myself talking about it, if the screen breaks, that's it. So don't break it. But no, I love the software. I love how fast it is. I love how responsive it is, how easy it is to maneuver once you get used to it, and how little it takes for me to learn it. I find myself driving and just kind of doing things on the side to the screen, just kind of glancing at it quickly, which if you think about it is the same as if you were in another car and you're driving and you're having to kind of maneuver your radio and your AC and all that stuff. So it's muscle memory at some point. I think it's also a learning curve, but once you get the hang of it, it becomes flawless, and it almost makes you feel like you don't want anything else other than that. So I do regret saying that I wish there were AC buttons and stuff, because I feel like now I prefer it without it, because it just kind of leaves all that noise behind me and I can just kind of concentrate on doing what I'm supposed to do, which is driving. One of the reasons why I bought this car was because I wanted something that was fun, something that was bigger, something that was a little bit above the ground, which I will talk about this in another video, the ground clearance. But I wanted something that was quick on its feet. I had the Mercedes for a long time, and the Mercedes was a V6, a 3.5 liter engine, and it was quick. It was quick for a Mercedes. It had a good kick to it. But there was always that kind of lag. I have the Corvette. Which is the fastest car you've ever driven. It's a very slow car, but it drives like you're going 100 miles an hour. Your life is constantly at risk of, just you're about to lose your life at all times. But I wanted something that was quick, something that would put me ahead of the curve. And when I read about the Tesla and how fast they would be in any kind of model, I decided, yeah, this is one of the reasons why I like this car. And so when I drove the Tesla, when the first time I floored it, I felt like I broke my neck, and I felt like my soul left my body for a second. It was almost like being in a roller coaster when you're going down on the roller coaster and you feel that kind of emptiness in your stomach. That's exactly how I felt. Funny enough, I've driven the car with my brother, with his wife, with my aunts, with my mom, everybody. They all have the same exact feel. It's like an emptiness, like that you feel for a couple of seconds and then it's gone. Now, I don't find myself using it in sport as much as I wish. Why? But it is a fun quirk. It is a fun kind of gimmick to use on people that have never ridden on a Tesla, because it is a different driving mode. It's a different style. It's a different way of driving. It's odd. The best way I can explain it, it's you're driving a toy that's extremely fast, or you're driving a computer simulation that's extremely fast. That's kind of how I feel about it, which is great. I also love the brake assist, which means that you could be driving, and if you release the gas pedal, your car will slow down until a full stop. And what that does, it regenerates battery, and it also keeps your brakes from wearing out too fast, which means that your brakes are also something that you don't necessarily have to worry about too much. You obviously find yourself stopping. I find myself using the brakes, normal, but I use them a lot less than I would on a regular car. but I find myself pressing it. I don't know if that's because I'm heavy on the gas or what it is, or in this case, heavy on the power. But I do find myself using it, not as much as I used to, but I enjoy the way the car kind of creeps onto the stoplight or any of that stuff. So that's a really cool thing, and it's just something else that you can put on the back burner to replace who knows when. I have read that a lot of the times people think that their brakes are going bad on a Tesla, and it turns out that it's just lack of use. So it's the complete opposite problem. But I enjoy that, as well as the funness of driving fast on this car. On another note, I think it's worth mentioning that one of my favorite things about this car is, I think, the cool factor. I think the fact that it's electric and it's a Tesla, and Tesla makes Cybertrucks and funny looking doors and Falcon doors and all that stuff. I think that's really, really cool. I think it's interesting to see the car in the streets and think this car has no engine, it has no gas, it has no anything that we're used to. It's something different, and I think that attracts people. I think there's so much hype behind a Tesla, like the CEO Elon Musk, like the Cybertruck, like the Tesla Model X being with the Falcon doors, the Tesla Model S being the fastest freaking car on the planet. All that stuff adds up to the hypeness of it. And obviously, because it's such a different car, so it's a cool different car to own. And I think most people that own these cars could agree on the sense that it's just a fun car to drive. It's rewarding when you press the power, and it's also a cool cruiser. It's very comfortable. So I think that, and the fact that it's electric, the fact that you don't use gas and you just kind of plug it in when you get home, or you plug it in at a fast charger, and there's like 5 other Teslas and you guys are all like peace and love to each other, you know? It's a cool feeling. It's definitely a cool feeling. Next point that I want to mention is the interior space. This car is massive, and it's bigger on the inside than what it looks like. I have enough space for me to sit down comfortable on my chair. My wife can literally be sleeping on the chair, and there could be 3 other people completely fine in the back. There's also a huge storage in the trunk. You have multiple compartments, multiple ways of storing stuff. You also have the trunk. You also have the frunk, and then you also have like spaces in between the seats. So it's a really spacious car, really, really cool that. And when you drive it, it almost feels a little bit bulkier than what it is. Now the car is kind of bubbly, and it's almost shaped like an egg, but a big one. So not a tiny egg. And that's cool. It gives you a feeling of a SUV. I wouldn't call it a full-size SUV, but an SUV at that. And I think when you look at it as an SUV, it does a pretty damn good job at being an SUV and carrying all your items, your golf clubs or your soccer stuff or your football things or whatever you want to put in the back, and while keeping it organized, because you can put things on different compartments, and that's very helpful. You can also throw the second row down and you have even more space. So I thoroughly enjoy that, because I've been able to use it for when I wanted to use it, and it's paid off well. So it's really cool. I enjoy that, and I'm happy that the Tesla Model Y has so much space to give. I also absolutely enjoy the panoramic sunroof. I mentioned earlier on one of my earlier videos that I don't get to enjoy it as much because I wear a hat all the time. And yeah, I find myself taking it off, and it's a beautiful sunroof. It's a beautiful panoramic sunroof. I hate that it doesn't open, but you can't get everything with Tesla, to be honest. But I absolutely love it. It was sunny the other day. It was very sunny, and I could feel the heat coming down on me, but the car was keeping very cool, and I could see the sun, and I can see the clouds and all that stuff. It was such a trippy kind of viewing experience, because you can see everything uninterrupted, and that was really cool. I feel like that's one of my favorite features about this car, and it's funny because there's absolutely no use for it, but it's just amazing. It's like a window into the sky. It's just really, really cool. That's something that I will absolutely ask for on every single car that I get moving forward, if I ever decide to change. Now, on the subject of spacing and interior space, I want to talk about the frunk. At first, I thought, meh, it's just a gimmick. I'm never gonna use this, maybe to hold the chargers and whatever. But no, I actually find myself using it more than anything else. I put everything in there. I wish it would open automatically, and I will rant about that later on in another video, but it works really well. Specifically, I put all my food in the front. I don't put it inside the car because one of the things that I hate is smells. And the smell of food and the smell of like things kind of get to me. I find it like, I don't like it. Whether it's a good smell or a bad smell, food smell really gets to me. So I found the fact that if you put it on the front, you don't have to worry about it. So I put pizza in there, I put Chipotle the other day, I put everything I can find that's food, I put it. And it's great because, and I'm saying about like shorter trips, right? You don't want the thing to just be there for 3 hours, just kind of sizzling in there, because then by the time you get it out, it's gonna be gross, especially in this weather. But I do find myself using it for food a lot, which is really, really, really cool. I also use it to put my backpack or my luggage if it's smaller, and obviously the chargers. So the front has been used heavily. Like I said, I wish it would open automatically, and I do want to buy the motor to open it, you know, automatically from far away, but it hasn't happened yet. But because I find myself using it a lot, I do want to make sure that it works the way I want to. I added a LED strip light to give it more brightness at night, because the light that it had was very, very Tesla light, very, very Tesla built. And it wasn't good at all. It was very dim. So I got the new LED strip light, and it works flawlessly. It works with the car. It's made for the car, so it turns off when you close the trunk, and it turns on when you open the trunk. So that huge thing, the front, it's a huge thing for me, and I absolutely approve of it, and I love it, and I don't want anything else that doesn't have a trunk in front. Another thing that I love about this car is the comfort, or the comfort, or the comfort of it. I like it. I think the seats could use some work, but I overall find myself being very comfortable. Like I said, it's not as bolstered or as heavily attached to you as I wish, but it is very comfortable. The car is very comfortable. The steering wheel is very comfortable. It feels good. It feels grippy. The seats work well. I personally enjoy them now. I think I'm used to it. I think the height of the window to my arm fits perfectly for me to hold the steering wheel like this, and then just have the other one lingering around. So I feel very comfortable. It's very easy to find optimal position for anyone, because the car gives you that option. Your steering wheel, your side mirrors, and your chair have like multiple movements for you to really put it however you want to, and it saves it. You also get easy entry, which means that whenever you turn the car off, or whenever you let the car go and you're about to get out, the car would lift the steering wheel up, and it would, you know, push back the chair for you to have an easy entry and easy exit. And you can customize it however you want to, which I find it amazing. So the comfort of it, it's 100. It's super comfortable. I'm 5'10", and yeah, it works perfectly in the front and in the back. I've ridden in the back a couple of times already while someone else drives it, and I found myself fairly comfortable. I would say maybe of a 5-6 hour ride, 8-hour ride, you'll be fine. If you're driving non-stop for a day and a half or 2 days, I can see how you can have some pains, but if you think about it, that's with any car. Yeah, perfect. It's got lumbar support and all that stuff, so comfort is a favorite for me. One of my favorite things about this car is, and I'm gonna give you guys a bit of a rundown on this one. There's just something about you jamming out on a freeway or on a long road in Texas, specifically because the roads are just a straight line, and not having to worry about anything else but your music. And I gotta say, the sound system on this car is ridiculous. There's like a million speakers. There's speakers in the front, there's speakers on the sides, there's speakers under the glove box, there's speakers on your ears, there's speakers behind you, there's speakers on the trunk, there's speakers, there's a speaker outside. It's full of speakers, and they all do such a good job at not only allowing you to hear the acoustics or the softer or the finer instruments, but also the bass. They do just such a great job at being good. And like I said, I don't think I hear a lot of people raving about how good this sound system is. You have a sub somewhere, you have an amp somewhere, and then you have a whole bunch of tweeters and a whole bunch of speakers. And they do a fantastic job at giving you high fidelity sound. And I think it's great. And that's one of my favorite things of all. Now, to finalize this video, I do have two more things that I think are worth noting. One is the Tesla app. I think it's great. However, I found another app called the Tessy app. I'm not being sponsored by them or anything. I find the app to be spectacular. You can do a whole bunch of stuff, including unlatching your doors, unlatching every door individually, setting the car in valet parking, setting the car to charge status, idle status, battery degradation. You can see everything from there. You don't even need to go into the service mode to see your battery degradation because the app Tessy tells you. You can also use this app as a key. Extremely useful. I find myself using this app way more often than I use the Tesla app. It also has a widget. It also has easy access, remote access, and whatever you want. I know there's a couple of things. One, why would you put a key on a random ass app? It's almost like giving your car keys to someone else. This app is actually approved by Tesla. So it's a very good app that works within the Tesla ecosystem, and I think it's great. So that gives you a little bit of peace of mind. And I also find this app to be a lot more intuitive than the Tesla app. I think the Tesla app is a little bit basic on a couple of things, although being great. But I think the Tessy app just gives you a lot more. Now, you do have a membership, which is $9 a month. I believe $10 a month actually, or $120 a year. I definitely suggest taking the free trial and testing it out on your Tesla. If you just acquire one, testing it out and see if you like it. I personally feel like it's a great app. I think it's great. I found the valet option being great because I did use it in valet, and I found it being really good rather than me having to swerve through the menus and menus and menus of the screen and put in valet. I think this did a great job. You can unlatch the door. I used this on my grandma because she was having a hard time kind of figuring out how to open the door. So I went ahead and unlatched that for her and she was able to open it. Easy access. I thought it was great. Give it a try. If not, use the Tesla app. And the other one, the auto steer function for this car, I think it's great. I do want to go more in depth, with this one because I feel like there's a lot to talk about, but it is quickly becoming one of my favorite features on the car. Specifically when I'm driving it on freeway. Texas has very long roads and very flat roads. So having a cruise control that also steers for you and stops when there's cars in front of you, flawless. And the other portion to that is when you're in traffic. If there's heavy traffic, the car will stop for you and continue on the same path for as long as you have it, as long as you're paying just a tiny bit of attention. It's very minimal human input on this one. That one's becoming my favorite because I use it for pretty much everything now, given the fact that Texas has very long roads and freeways, and it's been a game changer. There are a couple of things that I don't like about it, but overall it's been great. So I do want to go more in depth on this one in an upcoming video. But yeah, those are my favorite things about the car so far. Again, I've had this car for just a couple of weeks. I'm going on my second month, I think. And so far, it's been a pleasure driving this car. Like I said, I will have a video of the negative things that I hate about the car, and there are a lot. So I'm trying to work on the list and make sure that I have the top ones that are not as common that you can find on YouTube. Guys, thank you so much for staying with me. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.